Hello and welcome to the International Student Experience, a Swansea University podcast dedicated to showcasing the stories of students from around the world who've chosen to study in the UK. My name's Dav Turner and I'll be your host, and in today's episode I'm speaking to Christian Rodriguez Howell, who's studying a BEng in civil engineering and has just finished studying a year abroad in Luxembourg. Christian, hello, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Dav. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Can you start actually by telling me about that year abroad in Luxembourg? How did that come about?
I was in the Year in Industry scheme, and I started looking for internships available. And I saw one in Luxembourg, which was quite interesting, which actually isn't exactly from my degree. It's from another area, but which I also wanted to explore. So I contacted the employability team and I asked them if this was okay. And they said, yes, of course, go for it. You know, it's Luxembourg. It's a really nice country. And it was going to be like a year in industry and year abroad at the same time. So I tried and passed the CVs and all this and just went there.
What did you get to do when you were over there?
So work-wise, I was doing SCM, so supply chain management. And outside work, I was like doing like an Erasmus. So I was traveling all around because Luxembourg is in the middle of Europe. So I went to France, Germany, Belgium as well.
So you're originally from Tenerife. So if we could step back just a little bit, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you actually came to be studying at Swansea? Like, what was your path through education to get here?
Yeah, so as you said, I've always lived in Tenerife up till I went to Swansea. How it started, when I was a kid, I went to English school. So I used to do maths in English, but then due to like personal reasons, I had to move to a Spanish school. And there I started doing maths in the Spanish system because it's like two different systems. And I always realized that I much prefer the English way to do things because it's much more like thinking and less repetition. So I knew I didn't want to study in Spain and it was either going to be UK or US. So finally decided Swansea.
Was studying outside of your home country something you always intended to do?
Yeah, I think since I started, like after primary school, I already knew. Like since someone mentioned university, some people just don't like it or don't want to go out their house, but I knew I definitely wanted to go outside. I didn't know where, but I did know outside.
How did you manage to find Swansea?
So I have families in the UK, actually in Swansea. So I knew about Swansea University because when I went to visit them, they were building Bay Campus. So in those days, there wasn't a Bay Campus, it was only Singleton. And one day after when they finished building it, because obviously I went there like each year to visit my family, more or less. And one day I saw there was like an open day. And I wasn't there in those dates, but I emailed Swansea like saying, could I go and visit another date, although it's not an open day? And they say, yeah. And they gave me a tour there. So that's how I knew about Swansea University.
Did you get to do anything related to civil engineering for like your A-levels or for your secondary education?
So here in Spain, we don't have A-levels. It's called like bachelors or something like this. But I didn't actually do anything specific to civil engineering because in Spain, we do all subjects. So I studied history, biology, chemistry, physics. So the most similar I did is maths and physics. But again, it was like really wide. So it wasn't really specific to civil engineering.
Okay, so what sparked your interest in civil engineering? Were you creative as a child?
Yeah, so I'm the typical kid that used to do Legos. Also, I've always liked maths and physics like a lot, especially numbers in general. So since a kid, I remember everyone used to hate maths, no? And it used to be my favorite subject, also with sports. And I decided, let's do that. Also, I remember once I went to visit London when I was a kid, like maybe 11, I think I was. And I was just amazed with the underground, like how did they build this? Who thought about this? And how is it like a life underneath the ground, you know? Also, the same happened when I went to Madrid, which is like the capital of Spain as well. I decided I wanted to at least know how they did it.
And that pushed you into finding out about how everything works with civil engineering then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember when I searched it up, like architect came up, but I didn't think like the architect knew the physics behind it that much. So I wanted more like something structural. So there's where I found civil engineering.
How's the course been going? Have you been able to expand your passions for how things work?
Yeah, I think especially like the lecturers, having like a conversation with them after, or maybe when I work in open days, I have a conversation with them. And you can tell like some are really like interested in the topic, and they just start telling you about some projects they have. For example, one of my professors, she helped in I don't know how you say in English, Saudi Arabia, I think it's in English as well. Yeah. And there was a project there, which is like one of the strangest shaping buildings I've ever seen. And she explained like how she helped with that. So yeah, it's like every day and every week, you know more about the knowledge, like the theory knowledge, but also like the life knowledge, if that makes sense.
What's the favorite thing you've been able to learn on your course?
I think my favorite is like structural mechanics. So just looking at how we can predict how the force is going to go down or sideways, or what's the path going to be of the load. I think that's something that I never understood when I was a kid, and something that I always did, like wanted to understand. So I guess now I kind of do.
You mentioned working open days. Is that you were coming along as a guest? Were you coming along as like an ambassador?
So I'm a student ambassador. So I work for open days. We also go to some schools sometimes, like to promote Swansea University. And maybe like, for example, we did a hydrology lab last time.
So what sort of other things do you get to do on an open day?
The main thing we do is when a prospective student comes, we greet them, we show them around campus. Normally they ask questions to you like, how is the life there? How is your course? Why did you choose civil engineering in my case? And maybe they have they're not sure if they want to do a year in industry, or if they want to do a year abroad, or maybe an MEng or a BEng. So it's basically just chatting with the students, taking them to the people they need to talk. So maybe if they want to speak about admissions, take them to the admissions tutor. So yeah, it's basically just having like a normal chat and trying to help them as much as you can.
So you've come along to an open day as a prospective student, and now you've worked open day talking to prospective students. Do you think it's really useful for students who are interested in studying to speak to current students?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is like really important, because I remember I went to 3 open days to 3 different universities, and I feel knowing how like the students speak to you, you can really tell, because although someone maybe tries to sell something good, if it's not really good and they don't feel it, you can tell they like forcing it. So I think this is really important, because you can actually tell, because a ranking of a university may say it's really good, but do we really care about the rankings if then when you go there it's going to be like really bad and they're not going to like treat you good?
So outside of studying, do you have any hobbies? Was there anything you were able to really indulge in when you were here at Swansea?
Yeah, so I've always done surfing all my life. So that was one of the reasons why I went to Swansea. It is true that it's too cold for me. I'm too used to like Tenerife weather, so I've never actually practiced it. But I've said this year, and I don't mind how cold it is, I'm going to go and try. So what I did, I've also been going to the gym here in Spain. So when I moved there, I decided to practice my surf technique in the gym instead of going to actually surf. I also do other activities. So I like music a lot. I play the violin, the electric guitar, and trying to learn the piano. I wouldn't say I know how to play it yet. And I also DJ. So I joined the DJ society there. Obviously, I didn't bring my violin over me, but I could bring my controller. So I always try to make sure I have some time.
Were you also in the surfing society here?
Yeah, I was in the surfing society. It is true that I haven't made the most out of it, because the first year was COVID. So I didn't really join a lot of online stuff. And on the second year, I was kind of ill. So I didn't really go out as much as I would have liked to. So hopefully this year I actually join it correctly.
Was coming to the UK your first time out of the country, out of your home country?
Actually, yes, but not the first time I went to university, in the sense of the first time I left my country was to go to the UK, but it was when I was really small because my family's there. So yes, but not to university.
Were your family really supportive of you studying in another country?
Yeah, I think also it was quite easy, like for my mother, which is like my closest, I think, person of the family, because since a kid I always knew like I'm going to university, and since like 13 I already knew it was going to be UK, so it was quite easy. Just did like student finance and left.
Did you look at any other countries other than the UK out of interest?
Not really, like, because as I said, I knew I wanted to go to university since I was like 10, and then those 3 years from 10 to 13 I was kind of speaking with people about other countries. I never actually researched myself, but I just found UK, like the tuition fees and everything like makes sense. Because, for example, Spain is maybe a cheaper country to do university, but the universities I don't find they that good. Or US, maybe they sell it like a better university system, but I wouldn't be able to afford that much money. So I thought UK was like the in between, and I went for it.
How was the application process? Did you just come over here with any problems? Did anyone try and offer you like the foundation year?
Yeah, so I applied through UCAS. So I don't know if that's still going on, but yeah, I applied through there. There was a problem, and it's because in Spain, it's slightly different. And I finished like my A levels when I was 17. So I started university when I was 17. And this was like a problem for some universities. So other universities, I tried to contact them, like, although I'm 17, I do have the knowledge of someone of 18. It's just because I was born before them. Like, so I don't know how to explain it really. But some university never replied to me and only offered me foundation year. I just emailed Swansea and they just said, okay, we'll have to have a call with you, maybe ask you some questions, some certificates of study. And I just sent them all that and it was all okay. But other universities never replied and I didn't want to do a foundation year. So that was just denied for me.
So coming in to study at university at 17 is a little bit younger than most people would be when they come here from like the UK or other countries. How was that for you? Was there any significant differences?
Actually, yes. There was like 2 or 3 main problems. The first one is the drinking stage. I don't drink in general, but it is true that I couldn't even like sit down on a bar with my friends because in UK you can't sit like on the same table as someone that's over 18, which I didn't know, or that's at least what they told me. So I never actually could go out to a bar with them, although I never drinked. And another problem was work in bankings, like bank accounts, was quite difficult at the beginning when I was 17. It is true, it was only like 3 months because I was 18 already, like in November. But it is true that the first 3 months I had to use like my mother's bank account until I was ready to open one when I was overage. And finally, the working system, I remember I applied to work in Amazon and they said, no, you can't if you're underage. And it was, okay, well, I don't know where I'm going to get my money from, but yeah.
So it seems like you're a really busy and active person. What would you say you enjoy most about being busy? Is there anything that really brings joy into your life?
Yeah, I feel being busy is, it sounds strange, but it's what makes me happy. The fact of like, I don't know, of being occupied, learning or meeting people or like doing anything, it doesn't have to be actually like productive, but just maybe, I don't know, going to the beach or literally anything. I just don't like to be sitting down. Like, for example, yesterday, I said, okay, I'm not going to go out because I have to have need to be like rested for the podcast. And it was a bit strange to stay like all the afternoon inside, but it's fine. Now I'll go out today.
So when you get back, you'll be back here in Swansea in September for year 3, your final year. How will you go about balancing your studies with your hobbies like surfing and the DJ Society?
Yeah, so actually I was speaking with this the other day to my mother. Other years I've been working like actual like real jobs in the sense of with a timetable. I've decided this year I'm not going to do that because they say there's quite a big difference. So I'm going to go stick to the flexible jobs like content creation or, for example, some events like catering events and stuff that they call me as a waiter. Also, I think societies are really flexible. So normally they do events the days that there's no lectures. So I think I can easily combine those two with studying.
What about part-time work? Do you do anything other than student ambassador work?
I work also for the content creation team. So I like record vlogs and stuff for the university. And also I work as a waiter. So I've worked for the Liberty Stadium as a waiter, like in the VIP areas. And also at a restaurant, which was like where I had like not a flexible time. So I just had to leave that.
That's quite a few things you've got going on there. Would you say it's been really useful to you to have that part-time income when you've been over here, not just from a monetary perspective, but has it been useful for you as a person?
Yeah, I think it just gives you something that like a lecture can't give you, in the sense of, personally, I feel more mature since I have that and socialize with the correct people so that they can help you and you can help them. And also like monetary, it was really important for me because I don't receive student finance maintenance loan, only tuition loan because I'm EU. So I kind of had to. But now, although I've like worked enough to not have to, I still do just because I enjoy like being there. I feel I learn a lot.
What's coming up for you in your final year? Will you be doing a final major project? Will you be doing a dissertation?
Swansea, in civil engineering, has like a association with Texas A&M University. So I'm not going to do, I mean, I am going to do a final year project, but it's going to be like a team project at the beginning in combination with a Texas university. So that's going to be, I'm really excited for that actually, because I sent like what I always do. I say yes to everything. And when they told me I got accepted, I was really happy because I did not expect that I was going to get accepted. So yeah, I'm going to do that and then do my final year project at the end.
That sounds great. So saying yes to everything, that's an interesting outlook on life. Is there anything that you've ever regretted from saying yes to everything? Or have you ever regretted not doing something?
I think I've never regretted not doing something because I always say yes. Like if I say no, it's because I actually have something to do. It is true, I do regret some things. Like, I don't know, the first thing that comes to mind is when I came back to Spain when there was COVID in the first year. I came back to Spain and I couldn't go back to Swansea. So they told me, why don't you do a driving license? Because I couldn't do it before because I was underage, and here you have to be overage. And I said yes, but I never had time to finish it. So maybe that was a bit of wasted time and money. But only that, I think, yeah, all the rest I would have said yes again.
Have you always been someone who said yes to everything?
Yeah, I think so. Because I feel saying no is just missing opportunities. Obviously, you have to know how to say no, and maybe in my case, it's a bit too exaggerated, the yes theory. But yeah, I think it's just the way to go.
Is that something that your family upbringing will have helped you with, or is that something you've just always done?
I think I started doing it because obviously now I would say I get much more opportunities than like 5 years ago when I was slightly younger. But it is true, when I started like to see the opportunities coming up, like I remember sometimes it's not only saying yes, it's you doing the step to yes, in the sense of, for example, I remember when I was in college, I was seeing YouTubers all the time. Like I've always liked YouTube, and I was like, why can't I do this? Like I know how to record myself, I know how to edit videos. Well, not in that time, I didn't know, but I was like, let's try. I'm like, it's free to do it. Like why not? So yeah, I think it started quite early. Maybe not since a kid, but since I started to like realize a bit. Obviously, I don't know how everything works, but how some things work, I started to do that.
What's next for you? What in your say yes lifestyle would be next for you that you'd love to do?
I think what I would love to do now is when I finish university, like start either traveling around the world in like a job that gives me this opportunity, or if not, to get separate jobs, like each year traveling to a new country. So ideally, I don't know if this is going to be possible, but ideally when I finish university, I would like to work as a project manager in civil engineering, obviously junior, not actually manager. In Dubai, for example, I would really like that, or any around that area, which is high construction now. But as I always say, I'm open. Maybe they tell me tomorrow, would you come to Australia to work as supply chain again? I would maybe say yes.
Cool. Just to cycle back to talking about the student ambassador scheme that we talked about earlier, is that something you recommend students to do when they come here?
Yeah, definitely, because it's so flexible. Like I could say no. If they call me tomorrow, I just say no and it's fine. You have like a good time because you were with your friends. If they're ambassadors, if not, you actually make some friends, because none of my friends are ambassadors because they don't want to work. But I've met really nice people there. So yeah, I would definitely say yes.
Do you think, as a student from another country, that joining the student ambassador scheme like helped you settle in a bit more, helped you acclimatize?
Yeah, like in the sense of meeting people, yes, definitely, because it's what I said, like you meet people while you work and it's natural, like conversation just comes out, and maybe you start talking about, oh, this bus goes quicker than the other bus, and things that you wouldn't really never ask no one, but when you're working, it just comes with a conversation.
Have you got any advice for anyone who's thinking about coming to study in the UK from another country?
I would say, again, like just say yes to every opportunity you have. You can always cancel later and just relax and go with the flow. Because I remember I really stressed for the application. Like I think there was like a personal statement and I was like, wow, I don't know what to do. And I literally left it like finally to the last moment because I was so nervous of if I start today, it's not like the right time to start, and it doesn't work like that. Just do it whenever you have, even if it's only 5 minutes, start it then. You can always come back to it. And that's in general, not only with a personal statement, just relax and go with the flow. Don't stress too much.
So go for it. Always say yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you, Christian. And thank you for listening to the International Student Experience, Swansea University podcast. To find out more, visit swansea.ac.uk/international.